change clinic, so this may be a little redundant, but hopefully you'll learn a little more each time, because you only retain like 10% of what you hear or learn or see, or I don't know, the statistics. But so a couple things first. Two things. One is this is your race, and it's your boat, your responsibility to make sure everything's ready to go. Okay? There's a lot of stuff that moves around and is going on during a 9-man race, and people always think, oh, that's that person's responsibility, that's that person's responsibility. You don't want to get on the water and not pay attention to every detail. Every detail of the race you need to pay attention to, because it's not getting faster. You never get faster in a race. You just make mistakes and fall back. That's why these 9-man races, the gaps between boats are huge, because everybody's making a lot of mistakes. And what we want to try and do is minimize the amount of mistakes you're going to make in a 9-man race, because 9-man races are easy to make a gazillion mistakes and think, oh, this little mistake doesn't count. Oh, this little mistake doesn't count, because it does. When it adds up over a period of 2 hours, that little misstroke, that dragging in the canoe, takes away boat lengths. And you struggle and paddle so hard to gain those boat lengths to get up to another canoe, and then all of a sudden you have a bad change, and then you just lost everything. So the key is to be very diligent about every little thing that's going on in your canoe, and you all have to be smart paddlers. I know there's people, we've always talked about people who just sit there and just paddle, and they don't think about the race or think about everything. They're just paddling into the next stroke. You need to be smart. You need to be calm in a race, because you've got boats, you've got people screaming, you've got other teams screaming. There's a lot of stuff going on. So let's just start real first. I'm gonna jump around, and Julie's gonna jump in because she knows I forget things all the time. 5-gallon bucket of water. How much does that weigh?
40 pounds.
40, 50, 45, 50, right around there,
8
right?
pounds a gallon.
Okay, I want everybody to look at this. This is heavy. Heavy.
That's a third of a paddle right there.
It's not a lot of water. It's not a lot of water. Look at
we
these
had
guys.
way more than that.
That's half a Suzanne.
40, 50 pounds, right? Look at 1, 2, look at 5 and 6. There's no water. So as I'm steering a boat, I'm thinking to myself, oh, we don't have water in, But we already have 40 pounds, right? Right? And the only people that know that, 3 and 4. So what do you think 3 and 4 needs to do during a race? Communicate. Whether the steersman wants to bail it at that time is their call, but you need to let the steersman know, because the steersman has no clue what you guys are wearing. If you guys are wearing a lot of loose clothing coming in the boat, you're pulling in tons of water every change. 3 of you at a time, tons of water. So minimize how you're wearing stuff. If you can wear something like this, that's tight, better. If you got a lot of loose stuff, make sure you're very diligent of bailing out. Okay, 40 pounds. It's not even up to the top of my, it's right at my toes, barely, right? 50 pounds. 2, we're almost up to 100 pounds. This is an extra person you're paddling around, right?
I still had more than that the other day.
Right. Okay, this is almost 100 pounds of water in your boat, right?
Yep.
Okay, when you're in swells or going over wakes or anything like that, if something comes to the side of the canoe, lifts the arm up, because the water goes like this. What do you think happens when you have 100 pounds of water in your boat?
The water shifts.
The water shifts. A steersman only knows this. The water shifts over to this side of the canoe. So that's 100 pounds of weight on this side of the canoe, right? Pole goes this way. What happens?
Pulley.
Makes it very light. You can pulley, yes. So it's very dangerous. And look, seat 6. Any water back there?
No.
Seat 5. 1, 2. No water. Your responsibility if you're in 3 and 4. This is very key right here. Let them know. Now, when you're bailing, you don't bail like Julie. You don't, and you don't pour out.
Teaspoon.
You do it for. Look at
ocean-sized bail buckets. This is,
It's
you get
terrible,
water
but-
and half of it's going to come out because it's so flimsy. There's holes in it. It's little.
We need
It's
new
not a-
bailers
Look at this
before the
So we
race.
got a week to get new balers.
What makes the best
hole.
bailing?
Something stiff for
I
one.
know,
Look at
but I
how
don't
flimsy
need
this is.
Bleach bottles.
Okay.
Bleach bottles. I got
Okay,
a couple
so
of them.
normally we only take 2 changes out to bail, and normally you want to do it either right before someone comes in because they're going to come in with a lot of water also. So I always say when I'm told that there's water in the middle of the boat, because I don't know how much water's in the middle of the boat because I can't feel it, they'll say, oh, water's in the boat. Now, it'll be my decision. If I'm neck and neck with another boat, maybe I don't want to do it at that moment. Maybe I want to do it near change. But I will do it, and I'll say, okay, next change, number 4, bailing. So I give them the command to bail. And so on the next change, Julie's going to take her paddle and put it alongside her knee right here. So she holds it with her legs so it doesn't get in the way. And then she's going to bail as quick as
You
you
don't
can.
want to do this.
Okay, you don't want to hold.
So many people do this.
In one race, someone did that and lost their blade.
Exactly.
Lost your blade. And then if you have a spray cover, too,
Get a hold.
put that against your leg, grab the spray cover and hold it to the side. And it's just going to be, the best bailer here is Molly Bishop.
Yes.
She's like crazy good. You're going to just get the water and you're going to just go straight up.
Yep. Hopefully towards the wind so it doesn't come back in.
I can't even, see how when I scoot, the water comes out and goes forward because these things are so flimsy. You want a nice stiff grip.
I just think that the girl goes, go make a custom bail bucket.
Just like that. 2 changes. 2 changes, quick and fast. It's not a break, it's not a rest. It's just getting that water out of there.
And by the time you're finished with 2 changes, you're like, holy crap, I would have rather been paddling because you're tired.
So everybody gets that? That's crucial. Now, in California, we're allowed to have bailers in our boat. So that's something.
We will have pumps.
Okay, we will have pumps. The thing about pumps, once you have a pump, you have to turn it on. And pumps fail a lot.
You have to turn it on.
Yeah.
Is it on?
You kind of have to communicate it.
Bring fresh batteries because those things use a lot of
Yeah.
juice and they won't make a whole race. They
But
won't make
it's
2
a-
races.
But it's always seat 4 to get all the water out of the boat.
Normally 4 or 3. I think with the new Unlimited it's 3, but they have a bailing.
And
so
actually,
Venturi.
yeah.
a little bit more water.
Yeah. So that's bailing, basically, okay? It's very key to have your boat dry, especially coming into harbors and stuff like that. Keep your boat dry. It's an extra person you're paddling around. You got to communicate, and you got to bail smart, okay?
And something else when you have a lot of water in the canoe, not so much with these, and I know the guys, what they're doing is they're setting their blade on the bottom of the floor to get out, and when there's water in the canoe, your blade is floating away. And you get in 4 and your paddle's up in 3 and you're
Don't have anything to do.
yeah. So take the time to set your blade and hopefully it'll stay there. Hopefully you're not going to kick it out. Hopefully it'll be in this vicinity. But if you start by putting it in the water, it's not going to be much.
Okay, so enough about bailing, right? Except that you're responsible, so make sure whoever's sitting forward knows how to turn it on in a race, or if it's going to stay on the whole time, know where the switches are before you get in the boat. Okay, going. Okay, let's go to changes real quick. A couple things about changes. Where do I want to start?
Don't miss the canoe.
Yeah.
Do not miss the canoe.
Don't miss the canoe. A couple of things. Make sure in your race there's wax or spray cover, one or the other, right? Every gunnel gets wax. You guys allow wax in your club? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, good.
Remember entering that practice in the wrong place.
Our last practice, my last change, I grabbed the gunnels, I slid all the way back to the seat. The seat had tons of wax.
It's always before. Now,
Yeah, that happened.
John,
I missed seat 1.
Yeah.
if you're racing without spray covers, these should all be removed.
Okay.
Because they'll cut girls' feet. Yeah. Okay. So you just want to remove that side. That's a very good point. And it goes on fast.
You need spray shells out?
Okay. So you have wax. Hopefully these are removed off the gunnel. You wax this top part where your hands go. And I always say, somebody bring tape, duct tape with you, and tape the edges of the front of the seat.
Yeah, fill up.
So you know where the seat is. You have a mark of where the seat is. You want to grab early, right?
You either make sure your crew knows you're either going to tape the seat or you're going to tape where you're going to grab. Make sure you know. If it's going to be at the seat, you put tape on it. At least you know where the seat is. That means you're not going to grab at that tape. You're going to grab way before.
So we all talked about that before.
Right. But somebody bring tape with you, so you have it all marked. Even though it looks kind of not so cool, but better to know where you're going in than not. I see many people that go, oh, you know, there's so much going on, water.
Is she in first place?
No,
second.
Everybody knows the spacing between the seats, right?
Yeah, how do we?
So when you go in the water off of the canoe, everybody lines up the highest number of the person going in. So if it's a 1, 3, 5, you're lining up at 5, right? So if I'm 3 and 5, we're going in 3 and 5. Me and Julie about this far apart, right? In the water, we're not on top of each other. 1 and 2 coming in together, 1 and 2 are on top of each other, right? The whole idea is everybody grabs together. Everybody grabs the boat together. Getting in the canoe, you always want to grab early with your hands this way. You want your body position on the water, kind of floating with your butt up here. You don't want to approach the canoe with your body straight up and down in the water and try and pull yourself from this position all the way up in the water, right?
If you know for a fact that you're gonna hook, that's not so important because your legs are back behind you. Now you got to bring your legs up in front of you to get up in that. But if you are gonna pull yourself up like Mindy just said, you want to be in a floating position.
Yeah.
But stay away from being close to the canoe because it'll suck you under, and then you're like, it's really
You don't want to, at any point, you don't want to come in where your feet are this way, under the boat, this way, under the boat. And that's what happens if you get too close. I know a lot of people like to get close to the boat, but resist the urge and stay back at least 6 inches from the boat. Because you can always lunge forward. The best way is lunge forward and pull yourself up. Versus
Come on, lads. Come on, Dana.
So spacing and staying on top of the water. And you guys will practice that when you get out there. Now, getting out of the boat is very crucial. Getting out of the boat. And there's a lot, I think, as all the steersmen here, you guys should all have a command that's all the same, so everybody understands. You just don't set the blade and then leave the canoe yourself. Otherwise, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up jumping on somebody and injuring them. This is where everything needs to be calm and orchestrated like a ballet, you know what I mean?
Mindy, what I've told the girls is set your paddle, out you go, just like you were.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So what I do,
No.
Set your paddle, out you go.
Set your paddle.
This is what happens when you go stow and go. Stow and go, and everybody gets out at different times because you're like, go, stow and go. But like Mindy will sing, and it's a rhythm, and the rhythm is the same every time.
set your paddle, out you go.
So now everybody's
Okay,
time.
you do out time. Huh? I say, as we're paddling, I go, set your paddle. Out you go. And I pause in between the set your paddle, let people set their paddle. They may sit for just a split second, but then they're all out at the same time. And I call one, there's two things. I call extremely early. Extremely early. And the reason is,
Listen up, ladies.
the reason is, one, okay, as people are coming down, let me just talk about this. As people are approaching the canoe and you're still in the canoe, as the paddler you're staying, you want to make sure that this head's coming at you. Lift your paddle up high. Let them know you see them, because the worst thing you want them to do is, as you're paddling, you try and get that one extra stroke, they flinch and like do this, and then you've screwed them up for their change. So it's better to lose one stroke at this point, lift your paddle up, show them that you acknowledge them coming in, and let them come underneath you and then go back in.
You're so
right?
locked in on that piece of tape that you're just focused on it, and then you see a paddle come in front of you. You go under.
Yeah. Do not hit the person coming on with your paddle. Do not even come close.
Well, you're so focused on where you're going to grab that you don't want something to distract you. And then once it distracts you, I get it.
Yeah, then you've lost it, yeah. So, okay, the next thing is as you're saying set your paddle, you're going to take your paddle. There's either going to be paddle holders that you'll put it in, or you'll put it in here, and you'll put your hand over the top of the paddle. And this is to hold it in there while you're getting out. Now, the reason why we want out early is because the person coming in wants an open seat. They don't want a foot in their face, which I've seen many times. How many people have gotten foots in their face or landed in somebody's lap?
That's what pisses me off.
Yeah, or I mean, you have the opportunity to make a really clean change and a really fast change, and then you blow it by having somebody get kicked in the face, or by somebody, coming up and then having to drop back down. That's a boat length right there you lost. I mean, get the people out and get open seats, open cockpits for the person to get in. There doesn't need to be a person in that seat when you're trying to get in, okay? So set your blades, out you go. A couple ways to get out. One, you can stand up, roll out. Stand up. Don't eject and push the boat that way. If you're pushing yourself out that way, you're pushing the boat over this way. 1 and 2 is very crucial because all of a sudden you have pushed the boat into their face. You've either you can hit them with your head, you can knock out a paddler by pushing the boat on top of them. This is very crucial in 1 and 2. If you're in 1 and 2, you either want to roll out or you want to put both hands on the gunnel and just hop out like that. Got that? Both hands on the gunnel, hop out like that. Cover your head when you go in, put your hand up when you come up because there are other people jumping in the water. If it's going perfect, you should all be jumping out at the same time and no one's landing on anybody. Got it? When you come up out of the water, be very aware because a lot of people do this with their foot and take the paddle. It's very easy to just look, if you see the paddle, put it up in the air and let somebody grab it. If they don't grab it, don't worry about it. There should be extra paddles on board. Paddles go on like that, taped so this isn't out here catching water on big swells. They get taped up. If you drop a paddle, lose a paddle, everybody passes their paddle up. And number 5 or number 3 will undo that paddle. So if 1 or 2 loses a paddle, you just pass your paddle up. Don't even think about it. Pass your paddle up, undo this one and get paddling. Okay. 3 and 4 loses a paddle, pass your paddle up, and number 5 is in charge of doing that. And paddles get lost all the time, dropped out of the boat. It's common. Don't panic. Once you start panicking, that's when people flip boats. That's when you lose a lot of time in the water. You lose a lot of boat time.
Get it out.
Any questions?
Comment. Because of the height difference, just be aware that you may be 48, 49, you get into a seat with a 52.
Just got to deal with it.
Just do your
Deal
best.
with it.
Exactly.
Deal with it.
best.
Yeah.
Just go with
Hopefully you've all talked about paddles and where you're sitting ahead of time.
You should not have a 48 in the canoe. There should not be a 48. All right. I use a 50.
There shouldn't be a 48 or a 52. I don't. Well,
49, 50.
you girls are gonna have to
Yeah.
probably 51 in the middle of the boat. You are gonna have to work down because one of the smaller girls that gets into your seat, they're gonna have to come up and you're gonna have to come down. You have to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's something that needs to be communicated. It needs to be communicated ahead of time with the crew. Typically, you know who's going to be sitting where. For the most part, Ruthie's going to be up in the front of the boat, so you want to make sure that she's comfortable with, and you're typically, you have to work it out.
Last thing is if you see somebody struggling to get in, one, they got their leg hooked around, their butt sticking out, reach forward, grab them and pull them in. If they by accident miss their seat, step up. If you have the ability to step up, let them get in your seat. Don't let them I gotta get back into my seat.
Okay.
It just happens. Yeah. So just move up in the next seat, let them get into your seat. You gotta think smart. You just can't sit there and look at them like, they're not getting, wow.
So if I'm a 4 and 3 did a change and 3 missed, And it's back and forth. I should just slide right up
Yeah,
into 3?
why not?
Okay.
Yeah, let them get in your seat instead of getting in your lap. You know, just you're gonna see it. They're gonna go by you, and you know, like, oh, well, that's an open seat for me. I mean, I don't know how many times that happened in our canoe. It happens more, and the reaction is just a person just jumps up. Nobody knows anything ever happened.
I think the key to what Mindy's saying in everything is don't panic. Just make it happen.
Don't
Just
panic.
deal
Just
with
do
it
it.
quickly, make it happen, and you're good to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Don't panic in a race. And then, yeah.
I was just going to get into a technique for you hookers, and because I haven't been here a lot, you guys. If you hook, use the seat for leverage. Hook your foot underneath it, pull yourself up.
What it means is as you get in, you put your leg over. You can put your leg here, and it gives you a little leverage if you're a hooker, instead of just.
Don't lose the canoe though, because if your leg's stuck under there,
Yeah.
it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Hang
The
on to the
biggest
canoe.
thing, don't miss the canoe.
Yeah.
Grab on.
Somewhere.
Do not let go of the canoe.
Someone will help you out.
If you can't, the goal is to get in. Don't miss the canoe. Don't miss your change. And you'll figure it out.
Billy.
Yeah. Billy used to say that he'd leave us if we missed it. That we were cut.
Swim to shore.
Swim to shore.
There you go. Can you think of anything else?
They had to spend money.
I think that's it. Man, go have fun. Yep. Okay, that's it. Unless anybody has any questions.
Maybe questions after this afternoon.
Yeah. No problem. Okay. Awesome. John.
Thank you, Mindy.
Thank you.
Everybody's on the same page now, hopefully. Everybody's your race. You know, your canoe, your race. Be responsible.